What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you can have me at your next event. I like to party for the people. Have equipment, will travel. Mobile DJ, it's what I do. And if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag, What Makes You Famous. Learn stuff together. Let's get smarter. What makes you smarter? Now, on with the show. Today, 10 things you need to know today for Monday, February 3rd, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, Democrats make final pitches before Iowa caucuses. Democratic presidential candidates on Sunday made last-minute appeals for support in Iowa ahead of the state's Monday caucuses, which kick off the primaries leading up to the 2020 election. Quote, "This is going to go right down to the last second," end quote, said Simone Sanders, a senior advisor to former Vice President Joe Biden's campaign. The Democratic field has narrowed recently, but remains large, with Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders, independent Vermont, leading the pack in Iowa, followed closely by Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat Massachusetts, former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat Minnesota, and entrepreneur Andrew Yang. This is according to the Associated Press and the New York Times. Number 2, the administration imposes travel restrictions as coronavirus spreads. The Trump administration said Sunday it was imposing strict travel restrictions to help limit further spread of the coronavirus outbreak that originated in central China. The flu-like virus has killed at least 360 people in China and infected more than 17,000 people around the world, with the death toll now exceeding that of China's severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS outbreak in 2002 and 2003. Under the travel restrictions, the United States will temporarily deny entry to foreign nationals who visited China within 2 weeks of their arrival in the U.S. American citizens who have traveled to China's Hubei, the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak, also face travel restrictions. Although administration officials said the virus still posed a, quote, low risk, end quote, in the U.S. This is according to CNN. Number 3, key Republicans justify opposing witnesses ahead of final impeachment vote. Several key Republicans on Sunday said they believed that President Trump was wrong to pressure Ukraine to investigate his political rivals, but they defended their decisions to vote against new witnesses and evidence in his impeachment trial. Quote, "I think he shouldn't have done it. I think it was wrong," end quote, Senator Lamar Alexander, Republican Tennessee, said Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press. But Alexander said voters should decide what to do about it. Trump's Senate trial resumes Monday with by House impeachment managers and Trump's defense team ahead of a final vote expected to acquit Trump on Wednesday. Republican Adam Schiff, Democrat of California, a leading House impeachment manager, said the Senate needs to remove Trump because he could, quote, election by soliciting foreign interference, end quote. This is according to the New York Times and the Washington Post. Number 4, Trump plans positive State of the Union address. President Trump plans to go ahead with his State of the Union address on Tuesday, on the eve of the Senate vote in his impeachment trial. Trump aides said he plans to say that the State of the Union is strong, despite bitter divisions over the impeachment process. Senior administration officials did not say whether Trump would mention the impeachment trial, which Trump has dismissed as a, quote, witch hunt, end quote. Trump reportedly plans to use his State of the Union address to focus on moving the country forward and touting what he will describe as his administration's achievements. Trump told reporters at a Super Bowl watch party he would deliver a, quote, very, very positive message, end quote. This is according to the Associated Press and The Hill. Number 5. London police fatally shoot stabbing suspect. Police in London shot and killed a man on Sunday afternoon after he allegedly stabbed 2 people, authorities said. The man was wearing a fake bomb and stabbed the victims outside of a pharmacy in the South London neighborhood of Streatham, there to survive. Deputy Assistant Commissioner Lucy Dorsey said that police are, quote, confident, end quote, the suspect is 20-year-old Sudesh Aman, who was, quote, recently released from prison where he had been serving a sentence for Islamist-related terrorism offenses, end quote. Aman was found guilty of publishing graphic terrorist videos online. Quote, terrorists seek to divide us and to destroy our way of life, end quote. London Mayor Sadiq Khan said, here in London, we will never let them succeed, end quote. This is according to the Associated Press and Reuters. Number 6, Bloomberg trade insults. President Trump and former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg exchanged insults on Sunday ahead of the release of their dueling Super Bowl commercials. Trump described Bloomberg as, quote, very little, end quote, and said without evidence that Bloomberg was pressing the Democratic Party to let him stand on a box during its next presidential primary debate. Quote, why should he get a box to stand on? End quote, Trump said. Quote, does that mean everyone else gets a box? End quote. Bloomberg's campaign responded by saying that, quote, the president is lying, end quote. Quote, he is a pathological liar who lies about everything, his fake hair, his obesity, and his spray on tan, end quote. Bloomberg campaign spokesperson Julie Wood said in a statement. This is according to NBC News and the Associated Press. Number 7, British government vows to set agenda in post-Brexit talks. The government of British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said Sunday that it would set its own course instead of following the European Union's rules as it leads into talks on its future relationship with the trading bloc. The UK officially exited the EU on Friday and entered a transition period during which it will negotiate a new trade relationship with the EU. The EU has told the UK that its access to the 28-nation trading bloc would depend on Britain's willingness to accept a, quote, level playing field, end quote, suggesting that it would have to adhere to EU rules on environmental protection, labor regulations, and other issues. This is according to Reuters. Apple closes China stores due to coronavirus. Apple said over the weekend that it was closing its 42 stores in mainland China, quote, out of an abundance of caution, end quote, due to the rapidly expanding coronavirus outbreak, which has killed more than 360 people. The iPhone maker is also closing its corporate office and other facilities in China until February 9th. Quote, our thoughts are with the people most immediately affected by the coronavirus and with those working around the clock to study and contain it, end quote, Apple said in a statement. China is Apple's third biggest market after the United States and Europe. This is according to the Associated Press. Number 9, World War I drama 1917 leads BAFTA winners. Sam Mendes's World War I drama 1917 won big at the 2020 British Academy Film Awards on Sunday, taking home 7 prizes, including Best Film and Best Director. The BAFTAs are the British equivalent of the Oscars. Last month, 1917 was the surprise winner of several Golden Globes, including Best Drama, Motion Picture. Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor for Joker, while Renee Zellweger won Best Actress for Judy, her third BAFTA award. Parasite, the first Korean film nominated for the Best Picture Oscar, won BAFTAs for Best Film Not in the English Language and Best Original Screenplay. This is according to The Guardian. Number Chiefs defeat 49ers for team's first Super Bowl championship in 50 years. The Kansas beat the San Francisco 49ers 31-20 to win Super Bowl 54 in Miami on Sunday. The 49ers led for most of the game and were up by 10 in the third quarter. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes threw two fourth-quarter touchdown passes to lead the Chiefs to a comeback win and their first championship since the 1969 season. Mahomes received the Super Bowl MVP award. It was the first title for Kansas City coach Andy Reid, who has spent 21 years with the NFL and won 221 games. It was the 49ers' second straight Super Bowl loss after winning in their first 5 appearances in the championship game. This is according to USA Today. That's 10 things you need to know today for Monday, February 3rd, 2020. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Smarter. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. This is Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here. If you like what you hear, I encourage you to follow What Makes You Smarter on social media. Find it on Facebook at What Makes You Smarter, Instagram at What Makes You Smarter, Twitter at SmarterWhat, and YouTube. Username Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Smarter podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Smarter podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Podcast Addict. My personal favorite, learn with me on my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. And if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time for What Makes You Famous. Support What Makes You Smarter podcast using the PayPal, paypal.me/Keys Dan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Smarter is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you.